Welcome back. Our topic today is defining the four main differences between North Wheaton and South Wheaton, Illinois. Stay tuned for all four. I think number 3 might surprise you and is a little controversial. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jackie Angiello, Realtor in Wheaton, Illinois with Keller Williams Premier Properties. I grew up in Wheaton from preschool through high school, and I'm now raising my 3 kiddos here too in my childhood neighborhood down the street from Grandma and Grandpa. A little about me. I was a Division I athlete at Miami University. I'm a second-generation realtor in the Wheaton area and have been in the business nearly 13 years. In 2024, I was the number 2 agent in my brokerage for solo sales volume out of over 220 agents. Given my long-term residency in the area and the nature of my job, I can tell you pretty much anything you need to know about Wheaton, Illinois, what it's like to live here, and what it's like to raise a family here. If you're moving here from downtown Chicago or relocating to the area, Wheaton is one of the top towns to consider in the western Chicago suburbs. Wheaton is not the same as Naperville, which is about 3 times the size. Stay tuned for my video on Wheaton versus Naperville. And also, it's its own unique identity versus other popular towns that many of my clients consider, such as Downers Grove, Elmhurst, and Wheaton's neighbor, Glen Ellen. In 2018, Wheaton was ranked by Money Magazine as the number 1 city in Illinois to live, and the rankings were based on education, safety, convenience and proximity to major roadways and train access, economy, affordability, community amenities, housing, and more. While Wheaton isn't as large as its neighbor to the south, Naperville, it's also not a small town either. When considering Wheaton, it is important to note that there are differences between the north side of town and the south side of town. While many of my clients would be thrilled just to get a Wheaton address no matter where they land, I do want to point out the 4 main differences between the north side and the south side. While there is absolutely no bad part of Wheaton, and one side is not better than the other, you just may find that one side may appeal to your specific needs more than the other. The dividing point between North and South Wheaton is Roosevelt Road. The north side of Roosevelt feeds into Wheaton North High School and has a zip code of 60187, while the south side feeds into Wheaton Warrenville South High School with a zip code of 60189. If you're looking for a true way to compare school ratings, visit IllinoisReportCard.com. Let's dive right in. The first difference to note is the style of homes between the 2 sides of town. Mainly historic homes versus planned housing developments. North Wheaton includes downtown Wheaton, and therefore this is where you'll find the majority of the historic vintage homes in town. You'll find some really unique vintage architecture and homes with old world character from the 1920s and even some as old as the late 1800s. In the downtown area, you can walk to the restaurants, shops, train station, the Wheaton French Market that runs on Saturdays during the warmer months, outdoor music concerts at Memorial Park Band Shelter in downtown Wheaton. There's just so many places to walk to, and many of my clients really enjoy that type of lifestyle. The homes here vary greatly in size, age, style, design, as most downtowns do. South Wheaton was largely developed starting in the 1960s and beyond, and famously by a builder named Joe Keim that built much of the Donata subdivisions, north, east, and west, Marywood, Stonehenge, and some of Arrowhead. The sidewalks on the south side of town are pretty cohesive throughout, many parks and playgrounds, and even if you live on the north side, you'll spend a lot of time here at Seven Gables Park, as this is where youth soccer and many camps are held. The feel on this side of town is more cohesive, with many less historic homes, and most of the subdivisions were developed around the same time. Farnham and Arrowhead being on the older side starting in the 60s, then a lot of development boomed in the 1980s with Stonehenge, Donata North, East and West, Academy Highlands, with a few smaller ones in between such as Pheasant Hollow, The Streams, Briarcliff, and High Knob, and a few in the 1990s and early 2000s such as Marywood and Hunter's Glen. By that time, the only larger landmasses left to develop post-2000s were Amberwood Estates, Legends, and Loretto Club. The next difference is the convenience for commuters. If you are someone that wants to drive for your commute, The north side of Wheaton is less convenient to get to major highways as they are mostly either south to I-88 or east down Roosevelt to I-355, where you'll pass through Glen Ellen to get there. There are frequent trains that run through downtown Wheaton that can really throw a wrench in your commute if you're short on time. There is one overpass on Bridge Road, but it will still take you extra time, most likely, to go that way. South Wheaton is much more convenient to reach these major highways by going directly down Naperville Road to get to I-88 or taking Butterfield Road to I-355. And number 3, this may be controversial, but I think I'm qualified to speak on this as a lifelong Wheaton resident. But I think there is a little difference in the ideology and culture of the residents when you compare North Wheaton to South Wheaton. North Wheaton is famously more conservative due to its close ties to our notable college, Wheaton College. Wheaton College is a private evangelical Christian liberal arts college founded in 1860. Wheaton College is a top 100 liberal arts school, but is by nature very religious. Many graduates stay in the area after graduation, and the north side has strong ties to the school overall. Again, this is not to generalize all people on the north side, but there's no denying the religious influences on the north side of town. People in town are very friendly and kind. In my experience, the residents look out for one another. The south side, I would consider to be a happy blend of Naperville and Wheaton. It exudes the tight-knitness of Wheaton as a community, looking out for your neighbors, and I consider Wheaton to be a very friendly and social town. Wheaton in general is known for having a high number of churches per capita. I would say that South Side people are more laid back about it. And the number 4 difference between North Wheaton and South Wheaton is the amenities as far as commercial, retail, and shopping. North Wheaton has the historic, picturesque downtown area with more local shops and restaurants. It gives you that perfect downtown feel with beautiful historic architecture, but with many unique and modern offerings. They have really been upping their restaurant game over the last decade, and the restaurant scene here is head and shoulders above the South Wheaton restaurant offerings. Places like Ditka's, Sonio, Burger Social, Movable Feast, Giamia, Altiro, and Proof Number 5 are amazing, and we love when the town shuts down Hale Street and puts up the huge tent for the warmer season. Outside of Starbucks, you won't really find chain stores and restaurants here. On the other hand, South Wheaton feels more commercial in terms of amenities for shopping and retail. Here you'll find an array of grocery options from Whole Foods to Aldi, Jewel, and Pete's Fresh Market, and popular chain stores such as TJ Maxx, J. Crew, Home Goods, Nordstrom Rack and Taylor, White House Black Market, and my personal favorite, which actually is locally owned, Meredith J. South Wheaton is also home to Rice Pool and the Wheaton Community Center. So if you have a family, you'll find yourself on this side of town a lot. And luckily, Wheaton 302 has a location on both sides of town. Overall, there are more similarities than differences, and both sides of town come together to create this vibrant community. The schools on both sides are both very sought after from the elementary level through high school. Both sides are very competitive in sports and always go big for the crosstown rivalry. If you want to learn more about this area or have a conversation with a true local, I am here to help. You'll find my contact information below. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay connected. Thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for my next video.